Episode 45. We're here.
So
We're queer. Get used to it.
we're not.
We're
Queer.
back. We're
It's
back.
okay to be queer too. If you are queer.
And
We
we're
were just talking about. Lent. The way I view Lent for myself is to honor God and God only. It doesn't matter what rules man have made. It matters what rules God has made. The whole point of Lent to me is to deny yourself and go into the Spirit.
Yep.
Okay, so I have a question just because I'm going to go off of what you said, rules, right? Did you guys watch the podcast I sent you yesterday? Did anybody take a look at it?
I did not get a chance to.
Honestly, no, dude.
You know, like Dr. D, what is it, Stephen D. Martini, I think his name is. It has a lot of good points and he makes a lot of sense to me. Like he says, he goes, you know, we create all these like these moral ways that we're supposed to live in all these different things, right? He goes, but at the end of the day, throughout the entire world, that shit's different for everybody. He goes, so why is it that we try to, like, say in this country, say that everything like this, and this is the only way to do it, or in another place, this, and this is the only way to do it? But at the end of the day, it's different for everybody, right? Like the way of living is different for everybody. So what's good, right, good, bad, right, or wrong is actually different for everybody, right? And so I agree with that. Like, obviously, I don't agree with harming people, but I don't know that God's like there's these hard, fast rules. Other than, in my opinion, the only thing I ever say is just don't harm other people, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we all have different ways of living, and we can look at something and be like, I mean, it's something as simple as like, you know, we're like, hey, someone going like, someone going to the bar and having a drink to some people is like, why do you go do that? That's not spiritual. That's not right. But then yet I can go and have like the deepest spiritual talk with somebody, right? And so it's like there's different views, even something that small. There's different views as to what is quote unquote like right, wrong, spiritual, not like good, bad, whatever. Like, and so do you think God has like these hard, fast rules other than even like harming people? So that's another thing I heard one time is I can't remember. It's been many years ago, but they were like, you know, at one point people were like, you can murder somebody because the person was like, you can take my flesh, but you can't take my spirit. So go ahead, like murder me. It's not a big deal. Right. And they weren't punished for it at that point.
So
I don't know, man. It's weird.
I think, I think there's certain things, like if you're aligned with God, I don't know all of the things that God hates. I feel like I naturally know them. But I know 100% one of the things God hates is to hurt the innocent. So it's like
okay,
a culture. So when you see a culture that's like you can marry a 12-year-old or you can, do cannibalism and all that crap.
Or call them.
Well, no, of course.
You know what I mean?
Of course, but see, that seems so odd to us. So, but you think about it. So, like in the Mexican culture, which like my kids are half Mexican, think about it. Like, why in Mexico do they have, or they have them here too? But why do they have in Mexico quinceañeras? Like they're saying that at 15 a girl's turning into a woman, right? And then in other cultures in other countries, like boys at like 10 or 13 or whatever are fucking like now sent, like the tribe sends them out to go be a fucking man. You know what I mean? And so it's like it's just different for everybody. I'm not saying like I don't agree with cannibalism and pedophilia and all that bullshit, but what I'm saying is that there's just things throughout this world and this life that are so different. And like when I heard him saying his point of like he studied like 300 different disciplines and different philosophies, and I'm like, I get what he's saying, and a lot of his shit is very deep spiritual stuff. But it's like I'm saying, it's like you have to kind of like look at everything. I know I kind of like fucking veered off of what we were talking about with like Lent and stuff. It's just because I think it was just because you said about like the rules of God, and I'm like, do we know? And like what you were saying, Nate, you feel like you think you know what it is. The one thing I realize is none of us know enough to be a fucking pessimist. Like none of us know anything. Like we all, once I learned, like I think I know it all, and all of a sudden I'm like, I don't know jack shit. That's when I feel like I woke up more, right? Like I just am trying to fumble. I'm trying to fumble through it as I go.
Well, I'll say this is that the wisest man knows he knows nothing.
Exactly. That's exactly it.
However, Brian, you brought up morals. That's a hard thing to what you're talking about, because in American society, you're not an adult until you're 21. Really?
Well,
You
you're
can't buy in a lot of states.
supposedly 18, but then at 21, so fucking a few years later you can buy beer. You know, what I mean, it's like
Yeah.
okay, great. Like,
Well, in some states they have you can't buy a firearm until you're 21.
okay, but think about my family. My family's from Portugal. We have wine on the table all day, every day, and kids can drink the wine.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And
So
and, and,
yes,
and and you can go to a pub, which they call it a coffee shop, which has alcohol in it at a very young age, and go fucking drink because to them they're like, dude, it's just a social way of being, right? And they don't see it as this is horrible and fucking people up. In
This is gonna.
America,
This is
it's
gonna.
fucking
Sorry.
people up because people are so fucking like neurotic in America.
well,
You know what
that's
I
what
mean
I'm
about
saying. That's
everything.
what I'm saying is like in America, we have a skewed view of life.
Right.
100%, 100%. Yes.
My
But
thing.
I would
My.
also say, 1 second, Nick.
God damn it.
I would also say, I would also say
Hold your
that
thought.
you're not a man or a woman until you've matured, until at least your mid-20s.
Yeah, that's true.
But
And for a man, they say in your 30s.
oh no, you know what? Actually, they say a man doesn't fully fucking mature and understand shit until his early 40s.
Yeah.
They say by between 42 and 45 is when a man actually fucking like grows up, right?
Right.
Which I will say, dude, like in my 30s, I was still like, woo, I'm gonna go fuck off. And I was still responsible. Obviously, I had been a medic since I was like fucking 20 or some shit. But like I literally was like, I'm gonna fuck off as much as I can. But then even though I was a parent and all those things, right? But at the end of the day, like now being 44, I look at life and I'm like, okay, I love having fun. It's still just who I am, like those types of things. But I'm very fucking responsible. I'm very like there's a place and a time for everything, right?
Dude,
And so
compared to my 20s to how I am now in my mid-30s, because I'm 34 now, I am a much different person. So I will say there's some truth to that. Like for a man, I agree with you. I can kind of see when you're 40, you're like in your zone.
you get
Because
to a place where you finally start figuring shit out. Like that's the way I look at it. It's like I felt like I had it together when I was like even in my 20s, right? Like I'm like I became a medic very young. I got into law enforcement shit very young, and I'm like, man, like I'm doing fucking great, right? But I still didn't have shit figured out. I thought I did, but I didn't. And I got in my 30s, and I was like, yeah, a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. And then by the time I got to my 40s, and I started to like really look back on all of my fucking lessons and all of my shit, I'm like, oh, wait a minute, shit makes way more sense to me now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
think about it.
Now,
Like for
you know?
military recruiting, the prime age range is from 17 to 24. Why is that? When I was
Because
in the
they
military,
fucking don't know you guys don't know what the fuck you're doing, so they can
exactly,
they
dude. I was totally
they can mold
programmed.
you, baby. They can mold you.
I was totally programmed. I was in the military from the time I was 18 until the time I was like 29, roughly. And now when I look back on myself then, I was like, damn, I lived from a place of pride, programming, and ego. And now when I'm in the
That
mid-30s,
explains it
I'm
all,
out of the
Nate. That
military.
explains it all. Okay.
Yeah. No, it does. It really does. That's the whole epiphany I had. I was like, now where I'm at, I'm like, I'm not perfect. I'm not who I used to be, but God made me who I am now. And I'm still not quite the man God needs me to be, but I'm much closer than I was then. You know what I
You're still
mean?
becoming.
Absolutely.
You're still becoming. We're all still becoming, no matter what.
Well, and we will be until we leave this human body, right? I mean,
Exactly.
like we should be anyway, right? Because
Should
we'll
always
never
look
get
to
to a
grow.
place. Yeah, because I don't think that we can ever get to a place. I'm not saying we can't come to a place of finding like bliss every day and peace. I believe that fully. Like we can find bliss and peace every day. But I think that you're still going to be learning something new as long as you're in this human body, right? You should be. And the
Yeah.
people that refuse to do that will end up taking that with them to the next life and then have to come back and figure it out again, which fuck, at what point do you want to be tired of that shit? Because
Right.
I'm tired of that in this life. I'm like, yeah, fuck it. I'm just ready to coast now and be done with too much fucking learning. But
Yeah, dude, that's what I said. I'm like, me and my wife, we talk about this stuff like this, and I'm like, this is my last go around.
yeah.
I'm done. But Nick, you said you looked like you wanted to say something, so go ahead.
What?
Nick, you're looking pretty buff right there, dude.
Well, thanks, buddy.
Yeah, look at that. Look at those biceps, man.
Yeah, baby. That's been grinding.
Yeah.
But it was about earlier when we were talking about religion and stuff. It was about, I kind of had like a hunch here because I've been going deep on this rabbit hole here. Not to go off topic, but like, what if like all these religions that do fucked up shit or like do this fucked up whatever, like, the children's shit, all the other like stuff that they say, what if that's like influenced by the devil? You ever think about that? Not drinking or anything, that's different, but like the evil acts that they try to excuse with religion. You know
No,
what I mean?
Well,
that's the whole point of man is
Right.
how much do we excuse by our own wants?
Right. And
but
that's the
that's that.
thing.
So it's ego, right? So that's why
Yeah.
we can say like ego could be quote unquote devil, spirit is God, right? So like that's the thing is if we're led by ego. So like think about people that are like a terrorist, right?
Right.
If they say I go perform jihad on all these people, they believe they're doing something right because of their belief system,
That's
Right.
because of
right?
programming.
This is exactly, it's programming. So that's where you have to question your
Influence.
belief system. Like you have to look at like what am I doing in life? Why am I doing it? And what the fuck was I taught? Right? I
Right.
mean, like I like that's one of the when I as I've gone into deeper like aspects of myself and looked at myself deeper, I'm like, fuck, like what were my belief systems that were handed to me and why have I had certain patterns, why have I done certain things? And I'm like, well shit, like my family didn't know any different, so they showed like they just handed that down generation after generation. Then a religion handed it to me, and then government handed it to me, and then so on and so forth, where I'm just like, fuck,
Dude, the whole
like I'm
like,
breaking that cycle.
yeah. And then like, now finding out like everything is just like essentially demonic in a way, you know?
Well, that's what they say is that, and Brian, I don't know what you think about this, but okay, let's go back to Old Testament.
Right.
Satan and a third of his angels were kicked out of heaven to be cursed to the earth.
Yeah.
So even though they say Jesus is the Prince of Peace, they say that Satan is the Prince of the world. Why do you think all this evil shit's happening? Satan is both what I believe, and you guys can chime in on this. What I believe is that Satan is both a being and a concept because it's also, as humans, we have a unique existence. It's within us.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
So,
it is.
Brian, I'm
So
curious. Brian, I'm curious about what you think because good and evil are both within each and every human. So
absolutely.
how does that work?
So that's my thought, right? Is so there's light and dark, or our shadow self and our higher self inside of every single one of us, right?
Right.
So we can change the verbiage on that, and you have evil or Satan as your lower or shadow self, and then you have your higher self, which is God, Spirit, Jesus, whatever you want to call it, right? Christ consciousness. And this is the thing, man, is like, we have everything, we have both sides inside of us. There has to be the polarity to everything. There
It's
can't be
balance.
light without dark,
It's
right? There
balance.
can't be,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So like I always speak of like the seven hermetic principles, right? Like it brings you to a point where like they say like the law of polarity is like you're either all the way one way, all the way the other, or you find the fucking middle ground. And I tell people like to me what I've learned is like I've had to and I still have to look at myself and be like, what parts of me don't I accept? Right?
Right.
What parts? So, like, when I project judgment onto people, when I look at somebody and I'm like, why the fuck are they like that? Or why, like, you're an idiot, or whatever it is, right? Like, what about myself am I denying? Because,
Right.
because, and thank God, like, I feel like I've come to a point where I don't do that very often anymore, but I still do it at times. And then I stop in the moment. I question myself, like, what part of my shadow am I fucking denying? Right?
Yeah.
Because I need to look at myself and be like, I can forgive myself for all of my past transgressions. I can look at myself now and be like, fucking like, bro, like you still have moments of shit thoughts or whatever the case is. I know I try to lean toward the light all the time, but I do try to find, like in medical terms, homeostasis, which is balance inside the body, right? But it's also balance inside the mind, body, and soul to me. And so I tell people like, you have to find balance because it's just like when, like, think about it, Nate. You and I have talked about this spiritual ego, right? So, like, I feel like
I've
as you
had it.
start,
I've had it for sure.
and me too, and that's what I'm saying. So, as I start to awaken, It's like you think like, well, fuck, I'm fucking Buddha now, right? And it's like, yeah, you're not. You know what I mean? You're fucking not. And
Or
you
it's
got
like
to
thinking you're
figure
Jesus
out like,
Christ.
yeah, and you got to
Yeah.
figure out how to come back to a center ground, because it's like, you're gonna have a little bit of everything. So it's just like, you're driving down the highway, and thankfully I don't think like this, but I've heard people give this example. Like you're driving down the highway, somebody cuts you off, and you're just like, I'd love to run that motherfucker off the road. Like I don't think like that. I just kind of like now, like someone could do that, and I'm just kind of like whatever. Like I really don't react much, but for some people they do, right? And that doesn't make them shitty. That's just like in that moment, they're still not aware enough to be like, fuck, I don't need to react that way, right? But
Yeah.
like, but you have to find the middle ground and the balance in that. And so that's what I'm saying. Like, we can say evil, we can say Satan, we can say all these things, but at the end of the day, what did Jesus say? The kingdom of heaven is within. Everything is inside of you. Everything,
Right. And you get
right?
to choose, and
So
that's the important thing.
all your answers that you're looking for, meditate, pray, get quiet, and go internal, and you'll find them.
Yeah.
Like, very
Well,
simple.
they say like Christ is within you, God is within you. So
Christ
that's
consciousness.
yeah. Well, there's been a study that said there's a certain gene or something that we all have in our DNA that is the shape of a cross. I don't know. I haven't done enough research to validate it, but it's almost as if, from my own experience, everything relates back to what Christ was trying to teach us. Was that
Yeah.
was that the kingdom of heaven is within you? Like, why? Like, the one question I always have is like, no matter where I go in life, why do I always yearn for a home I can't seem to find?
Because exactly. So think about it. The message I have heard from a lot of my spiritual mentors that have passed, and still people nowadays that I listen to, right, is like so some of these guys, like I've talked about Joe Hudson, I think, before, and I love his work and I love what he's doing. And he talks about, he goes, dude, I've coached and I coached so many people that are billionaires and they're famous and they're this and they're that. And he said, he goes, and I tell you right now, but they're the most miserable people that I know on the fucking earth. And the thing is see, we're sold this bill of bullshit that's like, hey, if you get this and you do that and you get the person and you get the relationship and you do these things, we get this romanticized bullshit thing, right, by Hollywood or whatever else that says that's gonna make you fucking happy. At the end of the day, happiness is gonna come again. What did Jesus say? From within, right? So you got to be able to look at life and be like, dude, I can have, like, I always tell God all the time, I'm like, dude, I could have like the most, like, the life of like the most money, the most everything, and I'll be grateful. Or I could have like a simple life and I'll be grateful. Because I realized like I was blessed to experience like becoming quote unquote successful young, like by being like an EMT, then a medic, and then fucking like buying a home very young and having the wife that I wanted and like all this shit, the money that I wanted, right? And I'm like, oh, it's weird. I still feel empty because
Yeah.
I wasn't feeling the void inside. I was trying to find it out here.
You're
And
trying to, yeah, exactly. You try to fill the void with outside things when
I was
all.
trying to find it outside of me, dude. And like, even in, like I told you, Nate, we've talked about this, like in the last year and a half, like just looking at myself in that relationship that I was in, it's just like really fucking made me look at shit and be like, whoa, like you were consistently looking for things outside of you and it never fulfilled anything, like ever, you know? And now I know I can just look at myself, sit with myself, I can fucking like meditate, I can go have a beer by myself, I can do whatever I want, and I feel fucking completely happy. Like I'm okay. Like I
Yep.
am good.
And that's the thing too. Positivity comes from within as well.
Hmm.
Like, so many people, like, it's all about mindset too. Like when people are like all negative and like hate everything, it's like, okay, that's gonna obviously make you hate more, and then it's gonna make your soul darker or whatever. And that's why it's important not to hate. And when you can be positive, if you can just tell yourself, all right, I'm gonna make this better today. I'm gonna do this better. I'm gonna do that better, and it comes from within.
You're
You know?
right. But when you have those thoughts, you also have simultaneous thoughts of never mind, right?
Yes.
So it's like, it's
Which is the
constant,
law of
which is
polarity.
exactly.
Both sides.
So it's like that's what we try. That's what me and Brian try to tell people every day is like, It's a battle every day of your life.
Yeah, it is a battle every day. That's a fact.
Well, it's so this is the thing that I try to coach people on when I can is so people say they want to go to the gym and get fit, right? I'm like, cool. So do you think that there'll ever be a point in your life where you're like, hey, I'm fit enough and I can stop? No. So it's like I tell people about meditation or about mindfulness. You're gonna have to work on your mind every single day. And on your mind, like so your body, you can go to the gym, do a great 45-minute or an hour workout and be good to go each day, right?
Yeah,
Your mind, I'm sorry, but it's a different beast. So
Well,
your
that's
mind
it.
is going to be all day, every day.
right. You're
And
24/7.
yeah, until you get it to a certain point where it is quieter, but you still every single day have to use your practices. So it's like meditation, it's mindfulness, it's journaling, it's fucking affirmation, whatever it is to interrupt your shitty pattern of like your thinking, right? Because again, like in neuroscience, they talk about how people have everybody gives different numbers, but they say roughly like 62,000 thoughts a day, whatever it is. They say that most people are on a fucking loop of negative thinking with all those thoughts all day, every day. The same loop, like every day. And they wonder why their life never changes.
Right,
So I tell
because
people, like, you have to work that shit, dude.
yeah, because our system is designed for that. Our system is designed to keep us negative, depressed, and just miserable.
Yeah, watch the news, right? And they're gonna
Yeah,
fucking just
watch the
be fear mongering.
news.
They're gonna be
Yeah,
fear mongering. Get on social media, and they're gonna be like, "Oh my god, you see this?" And you know, like you gotta
Dude,
be able to. I tell people, people talk about nourishment with food and with moving the body. Nourishment of the mind is even more important than either one of those things. Like,
dude,
yes,
right.
those things are important, but that's the fucking first and most important thing is nourishing the mind.
Because you can spiral and go crazy.
that's how I identified within 3 days that COVID was bullshit. I was watching the news and they're like, this is a mass pandemic. And I was walking on, and then I went into real life. Like, the problem is that we're all on the news, like you said, Brian, and we're all fucking on our phones. But when you go into real life, shit's not that bad, dude. It's just
No,
what television is
no,
telling you. Like
no.
when COVID happened, I expected 28 weeks later fucking events.
Dude, I
And I was
expected like a
like,
zombie apocalypse.
but what's crazy is that people will accept what they're told instead of thinking about it.
The people don't think, they want to be told what to do.
Well, because it's
Right.
easier, like Nick, right? It's easier to just have somebody tell you like this is what life is, right? And like that's what I tell people. Like
Because you're
I
hearing
stopped
from the
watching.
experts.
Yeah, I stopped watching news back in like 2016, 2017. And like, dude, I'm telling you, like when COVID hit, I didn't change my life. Fucking
No.
kept my business open, got on airplanes, lived my life, and and I'm like, people, wake the fuck up. We deal with viruses, millions of viruses all day, every day. This one is no different, but they know they can feed this to you and tell you you need to be fearful, you're gonna die, and you have to have these injections, and fucking
It's
people are gonna be like, oh shit, they're going to surrender to it. And then you're like in fear mode. Now they have control of you. And
because
that's what
it's
I
all
tell
about
people like,
control.
what? It's all about control. Like, what are you fucking fearful of, dude? You have a creator that is greater than any fucking person, place, or thing on this planet that is
Yeah.
like, hey, I got you. What the fuck are you worried about?
Right.
There's no worry.
And it's like with all the shit, like especially with the COVID stuff coming out recently too, of it being bullshit and like how it was all a ploy to just pretty much thin the herd.
By the way,
Because
I tried to tell you that, Nick.
I know you did, and I believed you towards like maybe like the 5 months after. Because everyone else around me was like, "Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god." So I was like, "Okay." And then I started thinking for myself. I'm like, once you start thinking that's the key. Think for your fucking self. Don't listen to anyone else. Do your
So
research.
Nick,
Find out what's true.
It's crazy how people.
No, I only got the
It's
injection
all
once,
it's all a
dude,
test, man.
and
Like
then you come to find out, fucking
how
kids are
far
dying. People are
how
dying.
how far
yeah,
can we manipulate people to be fearful enough so we can control them? That's the whole
Then
point of this whole fucking society that we live in.
yeah, yeah.
mhm.
And then tell me this. Tell me how the hell do fucking 20-year-old athletes get all of a sudden heart attacks and heart issues?
No shit. That's what
You know
I'm
what I'm
saying.
saying?
That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
There was people that were fucking in prime health and then they got that injection and all of a sudden they have like a fucking permanent autoimmune disease and shit like that. And I'm like, dude, like that's why when people were telling me like you got to get this fucking injection, I'm like, good motherfucking luck. I'm not
Dude, I
doing
would
that.
have been
I'm not wearing a
dude,
mask and I'm not doing any of your bullshit.
Dude, luckily for me, I was on terminal leave when that happened. I was on leave to get out of the army then. My leave extended past the deadline for it. Luckily, no one fucking, because technically the army can call you back to be like, hey, you got to do this shit. I never got the COVID vaccine. Not once. Not a booster, not nothing. Because I
either.
knew. But that's what I'm saying about God, man. God will give you messages and God will tell you the truth if you open up to him.
Well,
And I was
luckily,
like,
luckily I had you to tell me what was going, because, like, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, like, yeah, at first I was like
it's too
worried
late
and
for you,
everything.
Nick.
Well, I already okay, I got one and done. Whatever.
No, it's too late for you. You already got it, baby.
Dude, you're already chipped. You're one of them. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I'm just fucking talking shit.
I think,
But
well,
no.
but it wears off. I looked at it does wear off, and if I haven't had any bad symptoms, and also that was mostly with what was it, Pfizer or whatever one Bill retard had.
No, Johnson & Johnson was the main problem.
Johnson & Johnson was the one that killed you. Guaranteed.
Pfizer's garbage too, though. That is one of the dirtiest fucking
Pfizer,
companies.
Moderna was like the only good.
That's one of the
All of them are
dirtiest.
all designed to kill you.
I'm just saying they are, but I'm saying Pfizer is one of the dirtiest companies in this motherfucking planet, dude. Like those motherfuckers are
Dude.
dirty.
Dude, they're all fuck.
Would
They're
you
all
say
scumbags.
Pfizer?
Pfizer's dirty as fuck.
Dude, there's a Pfizer. There's like a Pfizer. Pfizer.
There's a Pfizer, and on the way to Raleigh, right? It's on the way.
Yeah,
to
dude.
Raleigh. Yeah,
I
know.
Dude, every time I drive by them, I'm like, "Fuck you."
Dude, which
Dude,
Which one does Bill Gates own? Was it Pfizer?
Dude, there's one
Like a
video.
Hydra.
There's one video. Nick John Hagee. He was saying, like, you're not talking to the president of the United States. You're not talking to Bill Gates. Both of them can't control their next breath. His whole point was like, when you're talking to God, everything is possible.
Right.
Exactly.
God can do anything.
That's
God is all power. God and all demonic bullshit, all these demon motherfuckers out there, all these
they
pieces
don't have
of
any
shit.
power.
They don't have any power.
Superpower.
They're all
No,
weak.
dude.
They're all weak as shit. They're
All
all
the
weak
negative
motherfuckers.
shit. Nick,
Every one of them is fucking weak. Sorry, I'm going off
the
on tangent.
podcast. No, the Aubrey podcast that I was talking about, Aubrey Marcus podcast I was talking about with that channel, he said the same thing. He goes, literally, not one of those people, and they showed a picture of Epstein. They're like, not one of those people can fucking like succeed. They're like, literally, it may seem like it for a minute, but they will always fail. Like they will, and I've said that for years. I'm like, I tell people, like, say countries that have dictators. I'm like, there's never been a country with a dictator that's ever fucking survived, like, for fucking ever. Like they all end up dying.
Right.
I tell people, like, it's like I tell people with Rome, and Nate and I, we've talked about this. I'm like, Rome fucking wasn't built in a day, and it didn't crumble in a day, but that motherfucker crumbled. And people thought that was the most powerful empire in the world, and that shit fucking fell apart because it was built on greed. Like, it won't last, dude.
Anything that has
this country is falling apart.
Everything that has an influence, like, this is how I see it. Everything that has to do evil acts, like what we're all seeing right now, is going to crumble because evil does not stand. Evil does not last. Evil will always have its day. Evil will always fall.
Well, why do you think in history?
Because the devil wants you to suffer like him.
Why do you think in history, all the people that have been outnumbered, fucking 10-1, always succeeded?
300 Spartans.
Of course.
Not just the Spartans, dude. There's Christians that did this shit too against the Ottomans.
Well, and the simple, which, whether it's a fucking just a fairy tale or whatever, but it's like David versus Goliath, right? It's like fucking like the smallest, what seemed the most fucking, like, insignificant person fucking defeated the greatest thing. And I think that those are parables, but the thing is they're showing you that you can fucking defeat anything you want if you have enough fucking energy and power behind you. Yes, 100%. So it's like, how much heart do you have behind what you want to change? And see, this is why I've talked about this shit, and I don't even care. Like, I'll put this shit on the podcast. Like, we need to fucking, like, uprise against the government and all this bullshit. Like, I'm serious. Like, people need to be like, let's fucking band together. Let's fucking overthrow these assholes, just like they did with Saddam Hussein and these people like that, where you're just like done. You're done with it, dude. Like, we're just done with it.
See, you know what's funny? You know what's funny in America is that we literally have it written in our documents that founded the country, and no one's willing to fucking stand up.
Because we're all brainwashed. The enemy wants us weak. The enemy wants us to be manipulated.
I already told you fuckers I'm willing.
I'm willing to.
I'm willing.
Dude, after seeing all this shit, I literally hate every single one of these motherfuckers with a burning passion. I don't care who you are. The evil acts that they're doing and the fact that it's being controlled by a fucking demonic fucking presence, the fucking goddamn fucking
Oh, damn,
Israeli
dude, you're gonna run
motherfuckers.
out of fucking breath.
Dude, I'm
Relax.
pissed, bro. I've been holding this back for too long. I need to get it out. Fuck
Let it out
Israel.
because you're
Let him
gonna
cook.
go and shoot somebody in the gym. You know,
No,
like
I'm
don't
not.
do that. You know.
No. I'm not saying go. I'm saying like you just fucking because what evil needs to be vanquished 100%, no matter what it is. Evil, and these people are fucking evil. They go
Well,
around fucking taking your children, kidnapping them, taking your shit, and then wanting to fucking literally. We're all owned by Israel. That's what everything
bro,
is.
they fed them to you.
Yeah. Oh, McDonald's. Yeah, McDonald's. Have you seen that?
I did.
I heard it. My son told me about that. Yeah.
Yeah, people are finding baby teeth and all this shit, and Taco Bell and fucking McDonald's and all this shit. Yeah, we're pretty much all cannibals, by the way. If you eat that shit.
Dude, that's
Yeah.
one thing. That's one thing that weighed on my mind, and I'm like,
Fuck.
God, if this is true, I know but that's what I'm saying, man. Is ultimately the vengeance. The problem that humans have is that we don't understand that the vengeance is God's. Like all these people that are doing all this shit, they're going to answer for it one way or another.
Yeah, it's only a matter of
That's
time.
why, like Brian, when we were talking about near-death experience, when you go to the spirit realm, when you die, when your physical body dies, you experience shit, whether it's good or bad, 100 times more.
And I'm telling you, yeah, no, that's what I said. Like when I've studied a lot of those, and these people are like, dude, like if you like when you get over there and you have your life review, they're like the shit you did to other people, like in a negative way. They're
Yeah.
like it's like 100. It's intensified 100 times. Like you feel like miserable as fuck. Like I can't believe I did that. And I
Yeah.
think about just simple times I've hurt people like in relationship when I've been unfaithful or something like that. I'm like, fuck, like I'm gonna have to feel the fuck out of that. You know what I mean? It's like
Right. Like
motherfucker, dude. You know,
I feel
like
like every
dumbass,
time
No,
don't do that. You
man,
know?
dude, same.
anytime I feel
Here.
like I feel terrible because like sometimes I look back where I feel like okay I could have done better there and I feel terrible for that person and I'm like oh shit I know I fucked up so it's kind of
Yeah,
like
of
a way
course.
like I
But you
said you kind
see,
of suffer
but
for it
you
because you
see,
think about it
Nick,
you not suffer for it but you own it
exactly what you just said. That's
yeah
how you know. That's how you know you're not lost is when you feel that guilt.
right
Yes,
you feel bad for
exactly.
that person you feel terrible for what
And
you did you want to make it right
you should feel that in this lifetime. And that's what I tell people. Like anytime I've ever hurt somebody, and it's my stuff has always been like typically relationship. I mean, I've had some times where I've knocked people out, and that's gonna be another thing. But like I literally have felt like yeah,
That's
but I've
another
literally but
episode.
I've that's another episode where like
but
fuck
Brian
yeah, I shouldn't have done that either. I shouldn't have done that either, but you know, but my thing is like but I have felt like super fucking bad for those types of things. Like I've never felt
sometimes get a
like,
humble
oh, it's
motherfucker
okay. Dude, I've
Well,
like literally felt like shit. I'm like,
that's
God
what,
damn, I shouldn't have done that.
dude. That's what I'm trying to say. Is God can give you a peace that you don't even understand.
right
Like I've had moments in my life where I've been like, man, I fucked up.
dude
And
I
God's like, you fucked up. I knew, but that's what I'm saying is God is the author of your life. He already
yeah,
sent you here for a reason. He's
yeah he
trying to
did
have you find that reason. So, like, for me, I've dealt with lust, I've dealt with alcohol, I've dealt with all that shit. And I'm just like, that's the whole point of the near death experience. What we talked about, Brian, is like, when do you know? And it's like when you have like me and Brian have talked about this plenty of times. When I have those cold chills, I know it's God
oh dude I had those at
over
night
my
and
life.
when I'm talking to God and I'm like yo this is God right now telling me hey what you're doing is good
But
because like I
That or when you wake up with a sweat and you fucking know like what am
Yeah,
I
I did that
experiencing where I
last
wake
year.
up with a sweat? Dude, I've had that where I'm just like wake up and I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Like I know
what's
I'm
going
not
on
like
here
I'm not actually hot, I'm not sick, I'm not anything. Like there's some other fucking thing going on in me in this moment. So
Well, that's what so many people. That's what we've been programmed to reject is the spiritual existence
well,
of.
what's fucked up, man, is that like no, they all are against Jesus. They mocked him. All of them have mocked him. You've heard that case with the little girl, right?
Yes, Nick, I heard it.
Yeah, I'm not going to explain it because it's pretty graphic.
I
But if
already
you,
know. I already know.
yeah, they
But that's
mock.
the whole point. But that's the whole point. That's why I say vengeance is his.
Yeah,
Because
that's just it. And the only thing that we should be doing, every single one of us should be doing, is spreading positivity. Because this is my thing. I think that if we spread enough positivity, it aids him, it aids Jesus or God, and then that his, you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
well, whether you call it Jesus or God or whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
dude, we
Listen,
all
Remember, Jesus was
listen. Wait,
Jesus was an avatar. Jesus was he is an ascended master, right? Like fucking, it's
Yeah.
just like Buddha. Buddha's an ascended master, right? But we have one God that sent us all here, so we're all
Yeah.
from one.
I mean, I think
well,
that
well,
at the end of the day,
what I'll say is that I believe God came down as Jesus in man to wake us the fuck up.
didn't make, because at that time it was corruption then too with the Hebrews.
Well,
So, but Nate, so what are your thoughts on the fact that we are all a part of God? We're all a spark of God. So
well, yeah,
because
no, I agree.
religion teaches that Jesus was the only son of God, and I'm like, we're all sons and daughters of God, every single one of us.
I
Like
think so.
none of us are
So,
less than.
just like what we talked about earlier with denominations, I believe. So what I believe, it can be hard for even both of you to understand, is that I understand that Jesus came here. It was God coming here to wake us the fuck up.
In
And
other words, God came in
I
human form,
believe, yes, he was God.
and he
God
came over
loves
here to
us,
flip
but
tables. He came over here to flip tables.
God loves us so much, he came down here in our form to deliver us from shit that we could not repay ourselves,
Yeah.
which is why he died on the cross. He was like, nope, I'm going to go through with this. When he was crucified and everything,
Show them peace.
because what is said is, and Brian, we've talked about this before, the wages of sin is death. However, when you study the Old Testament versus the New Testament, you understand that Christ, who is God in man, came here to deliver us from shit we could not repay because we have a unique existence. We are made
So
in the image of God. So, what that means is Christ came, delivered us from our own fucked up shit, because humans, we have both dark and light. When you think about demons and angels, however you want to define it, angels are light, demons are darkness, right? But
Yeah.
as humans, we have a unique existence, which is almost, some people would say, is unfair, because we have to experience both, and it's up to us to choose which one we feed, which is what
Yeah.
Brian, like what you talked about. However, because God himself came down here to be like, y'all are fucked up, I'm going to fix it for you, everything is fine. Everything is fine.
well,
Just
so
like
that's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying. So what are your thoughts of the fact that God literally is trying to experience life through each and every one of us? So
I
like
think,
God is like literally trying to experience life differently through each and every one of us, because we all come here for a different reason and purpose. So even Jesus was here, yes, to teach, I believe, to teach us the power of the mind and the power of what we have inside of us, that we can fucking create this, which is why he said, the least among me can do what I do and greater, because he's not saying I was the only son of God and I'm the only one with power. He's like,
no,
motherfucker, each and every
no,
one of you
dude.
can create this shit and
Listen.
heal people and do things, but you got to believe it. You got to know it.
Oh,
Right?
you just hit the nail on the head. That's what I say when I pray. When I pray, I'm like, I know I don't claim to be the Son of God.
You're
However,
a son of God.
exactly, God is within each and every single one of us. It's
Absolutely.
what the only thing I struggle with sometimes is, I'm like, if we're all children of you, why do we have to live this life to get back to you? And then I remind myself, because we are a unique existence, like I said before.
Trials.
But then think about it from one other perspective. Like you said, why do we have to live this existence? Our souls choose to come to the school of earth to learn and expand because it's a choice. From what I understand, it's a choice by our soul to be like, I'm gonna come into human form and I'm gonna fucking experience this shit.
So
Because I hear there's like thousands or whatever, millions, whatever it is, souls, and they literally are like, I want to go, and others are like, fuck that, I'm good, right?
so
I don't know.
I believe
I don't know how that's true. I don't know how true that is, but that's just what I've heard.
I believe in a little bit of what you just said. But the way I look at it is that God chose you to be here in this time now.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I agree with that. So, like, yes,
There's
our
time and
souls
place
kind
for
of chose,
everything
but I
right
do
now.
agree. Yeah. So our soul, but I believe our souls agreed, right? But I believe that God was like, hey, like, fucking, you need to go down there because you're gonna go do X, Y, and Z. But the other
Yeah.
thing I always question myself on, though, is that think about it. We have a great creator that is our like our divine, like he, she, whatever. It's orchestrating everything, right? When people are like, God needs me to do this, I'm like, why would God, our creator, need you to do anything?
Well, that's
God's
why
like, I can
they
fucking do
say.
anything I want.
Well,
Like,
that's why
yeah,
they say do not lean on your own understanding, even if it doesn't make sense to
Hold
you.
on.
exactly.
I think it's all it's at the end of the day, this is all choice. Freedom of choice. However you want to be, who you want to be. You have that choice every day.
Yes and no. Yes and no. Yes and no.
Because
Because
God leaves it
God
when God
already, you have to think about it. God exists outside of our timeline. He exists in eternity, which
When
is,
there is no timeline, man-made timeline,
right.
yeah,
fucking false.
exactly.
It doesn't
So
exist.
our time, exactly what you said, Brian, our time, we are the only creatures on this planet that recognize that. However, when people argue, oh, why can't Satan be forgiven? Because he sinned outside of our timeline, because
Right.
God exists outside of our time. So Satan himself, he rebelled against the very creation that we were meant to be in.
Okay, so my question on that is, so then why did God say, hey, you can go ahead and go out there and fucking cause chaos? Because, you know, because if God's like, hey, like, because again, there has to be light and dark,
Well,
right? So
because I think
God gave
It's troublemaking.
permission. God gave permission to be like, let's like go ahead and like cause some chaos because I want to see what I think I want to see what the human with free will is going to decide to do,
well,
right? Like,
because
I don't
well,
know. There's just random ways
I
to
think
look
it
at it,
all
dude.
I think it all stems from the fact that God created angels, right?
Yeah.
I think it stems from this, and I truly believe this, and please don't judge me. However,
Too late. No, I'm just kidding.
no,
I'm
I
totally
think it
kidding.
stems from
It's
this.
all up to interpretation at the end of the day.
God created angels first. Yes.
Yeah.
If you read and if you know some of the scriptures, because I still believe that the Bible, there's some stuff that's left out, and that bothers me, which is why I don't pick a denomination.
But don't
However, I
forget the
still
Bible is
believe.
also man made too.
Well, and
However,
it's been reinterpreted 5 billion fucking
And
times.
they've also taken out places from the Book of Enoch
Tons
and
of
stuff
shit.
hey,
like
They've
that.
taken.
hey, but
Hey, the Gospels of Thomas, where Jesus was teaching literally. I have a book. I bought the book of Gospels of Thomas, where
yeah,
Jesus was teaching deep knowledge of what he was telling us about our minds and our hearts, and fucking they kept it out because they were like they don't want
yeah.
people to know that.
No, I
No, they don't want
agree.
people to
No,
know
I
that.
agree because the Dead Sea Scrolls aren't in there. The Book of Enoch is not in the current Bible.
Because these demonic motherfuckers have been around since the dawn of mankind
Are
and
you
want
gonna?
to keep mankind fucking suppressed. That's
Are you
what
gonna?
they've been doing.
Hey, Nick, are you gonna let me finish?
Yeah, go ahead. You haven't let me finish yet, so go
So
ahead.
back to the concept of time. The reason why the devil, Satan, Lucifer, whatever you want to call him, he cannot be forgiven because he rebelled against God in eternity, which is outside of the human understanding of our minds.
No, it's not. It's actually pretty simple.
No, it's not. Okay, yes, to you, but to people who are listening to this, listen, hold on. So,
But our human intellect will never understand the depths of what's going on in the spiritual realm until we
exactly.
get back to that. Like
That's
our
why
human mind
we
will never
are
understand.
that's why we are a unique creation, because we were created in God's image, but we do not have the understanding of the spiritual realm. And it's almost like sometimes I even talk to God about this. I'm like, why do you have us in this existence? And we struggle, right?
Yeah.
Hey,
And I'm,
Nick has a question. He raised his hand. I'm gonna give him the floor because he has like
all
that
right,
was
go ahead.
This is the thing for me is like the fact that
Hold
we
on,
are seeing.
hold on. Let me finish my thought. Satan cannot be forgiven because he sinned in the kingdom of heaven.
Correct.
Go
But
ahead.
okay, so but think about the Sanskrit word sin means miss the mark. We all miss the mark at times. It doesn't mean that you're some fucking horrible person. You just missed the fucking mark. That's
But
what
Well,
Sanskrit word means. You missed
however,
the mark.
have you researched? But okay, no, Brian, I see what you're saying. Sorry, Nick, we're gonna give you your second.
Sorry, Nick. I
However,
didn't mean to cut you
have
off
you
again. That was my
researched?
bad too.
No,
I'm
no,
gonna
you
forget
did.
about what I was saying in about 5 seconds. So go ahead.
But have you researched the fall of Satan?
I
Yeah.
haven't. I've looked at it many times in the past, but what I'm saying is there are different perspectives for all of it, right? Like
Exactly.
it
That's
could be
exactly.
perceived. So like you're saying, but Nate, you're saying like this is the way, this is what it is, but you have a different perspective of from other folks, right? Like because
Right.
like I said, for me, it's like I feel like it was like a whether it's an entity, whether it's a thought process, whether it's a consciousness, that's fucking like, hey, like fucking here's the quote unquote Satan consciousness, and then which is to me shadow self. It could be fucking determined in many different ways, and then you can have like spirit, Jesus consciousness, fucking whatever you want to call it. That's your light side, your higher self. And that's like, hey, this is what we should be doing. So
So now is like this is see I'm fucking losing my thought. Um, Pretty much what we're seeing like right now in today's time, Brian, is with all the demonic bullshit that's being just coming out of all this shit. This is my proof to the audience. Like, yeah, these people are like literally doing rituals for a demonic entity, to the devil himself, doing all this crazy shit in the name of devil, and killing people, doing blood worships, doing the most satanic shit you could possibly imagine, right? So that right there is proof alone that evil exists, that the devil is very real and he's very much alive today in our world right now.
and so which at the end of the day could still be a belief system and a level of consciousness, right?
Right, right,
So like they think they are giving this the bullshit they're doing is like serving some other fucking entity,
right,
right? When I believe the only thing we have is God, our creator, our divine loving fucking creator that's like, I love you. And yes, there is a lower self, a heavy consciousness that we can call anything we want, Satan, whatever we want to call. People can
right,
be like, I'm serving that, right? I'm serving that. But at the end of the day, when we return, when we leave this body, I believe we all return to one place, right? To the creator. But again, I believe in reincarnation. So it's like if you fucking have, again, this is a belief system. If you were in this life and you were like I always use Hitler. Like if you're Hitler, fucking like he thought he was doing all this good for the people, right?
right.
God knows how many times that motherfucker's soul had to return and do a bunch of shady fucking shit because he was an idiot, right? And that's the way I look at it. It's
It's
like,
like
so
all of
look at
them.
yourself. So look at yourself in a lifetime and be like, okay, you sinned, right? We'd say sin. You sinned. You missed the mark. So, what can I do to not miss the mark next time that situation is presented to me so I can clear up my fucking karma or my energetic, whatever I got to do for my soul, and then move on? And next time, if you do come back, Dolores Cannon, who used to be a spiritual teacher, said that sometimes souls will come back and have a fucking vacation here. Like it seems like everything works out for them because they've cleared up their karma in past lives and they come here and they're like, hey, off we go. It's fucking great. You know what I
Right,
mean? So
right,
who
right.
knows? But at the end
Well,
of the day, we don't all know for sure. We all have belief systems.
It's
So
just my
fuck, who
belief
knows?
system that the fact that these people are like doing all this heinous shit in the name of the devil is the fact that it's proof that evil exists, which means God exists, which means God is going to take care of it. And at the
Again,
end,
like yeah, so we all have
yeah,
a shadow and a light side, right? So those people tend to be feeding way more of the shadow. Like I've always said, the good wolf and the bad wolf. Those people keep feeding the bad wolf, and it's like,
right.
motherfucker, you're gonna end up like having to deal with that,
And
right?
they're gonna already everything they've done. They're gonna be facing with anyway, and that's that
Yeah.
negative because they
So
were allowed themselves to be so negative and so in, infected and evil that they just fucking went off the fucking spiral and fucking decided that, oh, let me just kill these people or do this to the kids, and
hmm
that's going to be the solution. When in reality, is not the solution. You're gonna get fucking. You're literally gonna burn in hellfire.
you
Is
know
what's
what's
gonna
funny?
happen.
You know what's funny is
Because well,
I used to believe.
the
No, stand by. I used to believe in reincarnation. I used to believe in all that shit. And what I've found in my own experience, this is the complicated part, right? Which is what we're talking about.
Sorry,
This is the complicated part of human existence, is belief systems, right?
Yeah.
Through my own experience, I know without a shadow of a doubt, there's nothing you can say, and I'm not saying this in a negative way towards anybody or anything, but I know for a fact that Christ is Lord. And I know that. I know it because I experienced it, but that's how God works. Like we talk about, it's up to your own individual experience.
Yeah.
Each person is on their own path, and God will let you go on that path if you choose it, because we have free will. For me, working with Christ has changed my life. Like I said earlier, when I was like, I'm not the man I once was. The reason why I'm not the man I once was is because of Christ. That's how I experienced it.
Right.
But for even both of you, your experience can be completely different from mine. The
I
whole
think that's
point the whole point of human existence is to get back to where we came from.
I feel like God does that to us because He wants us to, each and every one of us, to go through something or go through a trial in our lives, or just, and that's just how He does it. He teaches us different ways. But at the end of the day, how I see it is like God's about love and care and peace and protecting the innocent from all the evil, because there is always going to be evil in this world. There's never going to go away.
No,
That's the
it's almost it's almost in like a sick way we need it.
It's because it tests us. That's what it's.
But is it?
That's
But yeah,
actually
but that's
this
the
whole
thing.
thing. This
But
whole
is it
thing
a
is
sick
testing
way,
us.
or is it that we don't know? We would never know the light if we didn't know the dark.
Exactly.
Right.
No,
That's
I
right.
agree.
So
I agree. I
if you
agree.
don't have both sides, just like I tell people, if a person was never fucking like struggling financially, right?
Yeah.
How the fuck would they know what wealth is? And the
They
thing
wouldn't.
is
Yeah, exactly. They
that's
wouldn't
why
know the
you have
value of it.
that's why you have people that are born into wealth, right? And don't have to do shit, and they end up like on fucking cocaine all day, every day, and they don't know what the fuck they're doing because they're like, I've never had to experience anything less than what I can get everything I want, right?
Right.
So the best way of existence, in my opinion, is to be able to experience both sides so that when you do end up living the life that you actually want, you're like, God, this is so fucking great, right?
Yeah, but
So
well, that goes back to what you know, right? So if you're raised in a family that's rich and famous or whatever the fuck it is, and you have everything at your fingertips, that's why they say store up for yourselves treasures in heaven and not in the world.
Right.
Because ultimately it goes back to worldly treasures versus the next realm of treasures.
well, of
Right.
course, but you can also like you can receive if God's like, hey, I want to give you all this like wealth so that you can go out and serve, whatever the case is, right? Like, but you don't put it on a pedestal. So this is the thing
No.
I tell people,
Yeah.
like whatever you receive, whether it's wealth, whether it's a relationship, whatever it is that you think you need, whatever, like never put it on a pedestal because at the end of the day, God's your provider in every aspect. I always tell people it's not a person, it's not a relationship, it's not anything. I will never put anything or anyone on a pedestal. And I've had that discussion in a relationship where they're like, why can't I be put on a pedestal? I was like, because I will not put you on a pedestal. I put God on a pedestal, right? Like
Right.
I'm grateful for you, but you're not above God. And I'm not going to put you on a pedestal because at any point you could be removed. And
That's a
that's
fact.
the point. So,
No, dude, that's exactly what you just said, man. That's the whole key.
Well,
God,
listen,
your relationship with God is number one. Everything else falls below that.
it all falls into place when it's ready to.
well, and one key thing I live by, and it really does help me live a very peaceful life, is one of the Buddhist teachings is if you live without desire and without attachment, you pretty much live without suffering. The
Right.
reason we suffer is because it's like I desire this thing, this person, this whatever, right? And then I'm attached to an outcome. I'm attached to this person, this place, this thing, and then you fucking suffer. If you realize that God is the one like leading everything, is going to give you everything you need and oftentimes more because God knows your heart much deeper than you do, you don't suffer as much. Like you literally get to just be like, well, fuck, everything's working out.
Well, that's the other
Well,
You
thing
know?
you
too
know
is
what's
you
funny
gotta
about
you
that
gotta
is that I feel exactly that way, That's why.
Yeah.
That's another reason why I practice Lent, is because the desires of the flesh, like, oh, I want this food, I want this thing. It's like, no, deny. The whole point is to deny yourself pleasures so you can be closer to God. So I agree.
100%.
I agree with you, Brian. Is that that's a good point, man? Like,
Yeah.
you have to be able to deny yourself what your body or what your mind is trying to feed you.
Because you don't know
100%.
that want could be from something dark or whatever. It could be trying to make you spiral, feed you something that's not meant for you, and you don't
Well,
know.
what I've learned is it's typically trying to fill some internal void, right? Like, so
Right, and
anything
something
you're
you can't
looking for
face.
outside, it's like, even hunger, right? Like,
Yeah.
I will do prolonged fasting pretty often, and I love it, and I love the way I feel with it. But a lot of people, when I encourage them to do that, they're like, "Oh my God, it's so hard." Your hunger pangs are still literally just coming from like some bullshit place, because you can live for a long time without food. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, or extended period of time. And so it's like I tell people, it's like, it's just like sex, or it's like anything. Like, you can literally deny anything and be okay with it.